I like to look at pictures of older classrooms to see what has changed and what has stayed the same with the classrooms we see in our schools today. I remember when my classrooms didn't look like this. Now, I don't look back on high school and reminisce about what my classroom space looked like. But I do remember my classroom spaces from elementary schools, when there were centers and you got to be super creative. Some centers were popsicle sticks, some had paper plates and glitter and cotton ball and glue. Then there was the center with a blank piece of paper in front of you, and the universe was the limit on what you could put on that paper. I would be consumed by the drawing and let my creativity run loose. Another thing I remember from childhood is one of my favorite parts of back to school. A brand new box of crayons, that smell of colored wax, that feeling of excitement that you'll be able to draw fine, intricate lines with a crayon that hadn't touched paper yet. But then there was also a sense of sadness after you used a crayon for the first time, when the crayon wasn't brand new anymore. Because let's face it, the sharpener that they put on the box never got it back to that brand new feeling. Now as a kid, I also remember playing with Legos all the time. At first, I would always build what was given to me, whether it was a space station or a car. But after I built it once, I took it apart and I'd have a blank slate again. And I could do whatever I wanted with each and every one of those little building blocks. Those are a couple things that I remember fondly as growing up when it comes to creativity. Now, I'm not sure what happened to that passion and creativity that kids have for school. But I remember when drawing and coloring turned into making reports on poster boards. And although we got to be a little creative on the poster board, it was a little different. And then, eventually, poster boards went away. And I was typing papers and reading long books. I enjoyed reading, but it wasn't something I was super passionate about. The other day, we discussed in class what made motivation in school difficult. We talked about how sometimes we just aren't passionate about what we're learning in school. Not that what we're doing or learning in school doesn't have value, but sometimes it is hard to be motivated if you're not super stoked about it. I shared with you how I learned to love learning, and I want to make that love of learning something that you'll experience in your life too. Now, before the school year started this summer, I was looking at our school's mission statement, and something stood out to me. The last part of our mission statement says, "We develop global citizens who are creative, critical thinkers, and lifelong learners prepared for the challenges of leading in the 21st century." Whoa! As a teacher, that's a huge task for me. Notice how it says that you'll be prepared for the challenges of leading. Not sitting as a bystander experiencing the world as it passes you by, but leading in the 21st century. And what does that even look like? A statistic from the Center of Labor and Statistics believes that 60% of the jobs that our students will be working don't exist yet. When I think about that statistic, I think of things that didn't exist when I was in high school, which are a part of our daily lives. Picture messages, microblogging, and touchscreen phones. And I think about some of the jobs that didn't exist when I was in high school either. Social media managers, app developers, cloud computing specialists. The world is changing so very fast. How will you be prepared? What will you do to demonstrate your flexibility, creativity, and ability to handle self-directed learning? 3M, which started out as a mining company, is known to give us great things such as Scotch tape, masking tape, and sandpaper. During the 1970s, 3M started giving employees 15% of their work time to work on projects that interested them. More recently, Google has adopted this idea, and it gave its engineers 20% of their work time to work on projects that engineers were interested in. In the video we watched in class the other day, Dan Pink brings up an Australian software company, Atlassian, that also did this. Now, in the 1970s, a scientist was trying to come up with a really super sticky adhesive when his experiment didn't turn out as planned, and it resulted in a light, tacky adhesive. Art Fry took 3M's 15% time and worked with the scientist to create a bookmark for his church hymnal. We now know this as a Post-it note. Some of Google's results are also things that we experience on a daily basis. Gmail, Google Maps, and AdSense. And while you may not be familiar with AdSense, I will tell you that it makes up about 22% of Google's annual revenue. That's about $3.4 billion. Now talk about innovation time well spent. After thinking about all of these things, I wanted to give you guys a chance to show your creativity, innovation, and passions in my class. So I'm introducing you to an independent study called 20% Time. Now, at this moment, some of you are probably thinking to yourself,
Come on, this is a misunderstanding. I'm just a regular, normal, ordinary guy.
and you want to do school the way it has always been done. And I feel Emmett from the Lego Movie really represents you guys. Maybe you've been told that you can't do something, or maybe you don't think you can be creative or innovative.
See, he can't do it. He will never be a master builder.
Of course not. Not if you keep telling him he can't. He needs to see that he can.
What are you doing?
We are entering your mind.
What?
To prove that you have the unlocked potential to be a master builder. Ujjayi.
And you see, everyone has it. Now, doing 20% time isn't necessarily dependent on being really smart.
You're going to need far more than brain power. What you're going to need is googliness. Nothing funny. Googliness. The intangible stuff.
Now, there's something interesting, the intangible stuff. This is all about doing something unique and new. A way to sum it up is you probably want to do something great. Let me get out of the way. This is a way for you to explore a passion and demonstrate your mastery of English education standards like narrative writing, research skills, and communication. For the rest of the year, 20% of your time in my class will be spent learning something you want to learn, or working on something you want to work on. It has to be some type of learning, and you have to document it. And the goal is you have to produce something or achieve a goal from your learning. The kicker with 20% time is that failure is an option. The other day we talked about how you would be more brave if you knew that a grade wasn't attached to whether it went really well. Well, this is your chance to be brave. This is your chance to build something.
Hey, everybody. You don't know me, but I'm on TV, so you can trust me. I know things seem kind of bad right now, but there is a way out of this. This is Emmett. And he was just like all of you. A face in the crowd, following the same instructions as you. He was so good at fitting in, no one ever saw him. And I owe you an apology, because I used to look down on people like that.
I used to think they were followers with no ideas or vision.
Because it turns out Emmett had great ideas. And even though they seemed weird and kind of pointless, they actually came closer than anyone else to saving the universe. And now we have to finish what he started by making whatever weird thing pops into our heads. All of you have the ability inside of you to be a groundbreaker. And I mean literally. Break the ground! Peel up the pieces, tear apart your walls! Build things only you could build. Defend yourselves. We need to fight back against President Business's plans to freeze us. Today will not be known as Taco Tuesday. It will be known as Freedom Friday.
Now, there are some of you that might be feeling a little scared right now. I know you like order and sequence and control, and 20% time isn't necessarily that. I'm giving you something that's a little more messy. But creativity is messy, and learning is messy. And that's okay, because we're all in this together. You can do this. You are capable. You do have something to offer. I'm giving you a green light to go. To be creative, to try something new, to learn something that you want to learn, to be brave. Because
you are the most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe. And you are capable of amazing things because you are the special. And so am I. And so is everyone. It's about all of us. Right now, It's about you. And you still can change everything.
Now, Michael Jordan is famous for saying the quote, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something. But I can't accept not trying." And I want to kind of take this as our motto for 20% time this year. You can try something great, and if you don't get to the end goal that you are hoping for, that's okay, because at least you tried. Now, through the course of the year, I want to document our learning using the hashtag HHS20time so that we can share with the world exactly what we've experienced and what we're learning. Thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to a great year.